Hello and welcome to Heal with Ty and Kara. We're glad to be back after a long hiatus, and we've been able to take a few nice healing vacations, which has been really good. But we're ready to get back and do this thing about as consistent as we can do it now, moving forward. So this topic that we have today, we're going to do a deep, meaningful dive into long COVID, actually, or anybody that's actually experienced chronic low energy. And Kara actually had a personal experience with this, and she's been battling this for a while, but she's found ways to thrive through it despite the ongoing challenges. So I have a few questions for her, and I thought I would just interview her and let her answer some of these questions. So we're going to start with the first question. So Kara, can you describe what life was like before long COVID and how it changed your day-to-day reality?
Yeah, so I first got, let's go back to the 2020-ish when we were all in lockdown. And, about 6 months after that, June-ish of 2021 or 2020, I don't know, somewhere in there, I had to go back to work. This was before Ty and I met. And at work, I experienced getting COVID exposure twice, 2 different times. A coworker had COVID, came to work, didn't know it. They tested positive. We all had to test, and anybody who was tested positive had to go quarantine away from work again, right? So that happened to me twice. And during those times, it was like a vacation. I felt amazing. I did not have any symptoms. One of the times happened, so this would have been 2021 in like April. It was like spring. The weather was nice. I took my 2 little ones to the beach on, the lake, because we were quarantined for a whole week, and we felt great.
And getting paid for it.
I was positive for COVID, but 0 symptoms. Then a few months later, similar thing happened. I had to quarantine for another week because somebody came to work and exposed everybody. And again, I had no symptoms. So twice I had COVID with 0 symptoms. Fast forward to 2023. This is the year I met Ty. So I met Ty in June of 2023, and it was like, or was it, is that right?
I think so.
And then so a few months, I think it was like in January or February, right? When I got really sick with COVID.
Yeah.
So 2024, the beginning of 2024, got COVID for the 3rd time, and it knocked me flat. So to answer the question, before COVID, I was very, very active, very energetic. I didn't really go to the gym. I was just active as a part of my life. So at work, as part of my job as a surgical tech, in a very fast-paced OR setting, I got upper body strength. I mean, Ty can testify how ripped my muscles were, my arms and back from work. So it's like ultimate resistance training, retracting and surgery all day long. Then you take 2 huge bags of garbage, pick them up with both arms, carry them a half mile down the hall to the garbage receptacle, right? Do that multiple times a day. And you're in between surgeries, you're moving, you're just running down the halls, back and forth, back and forth. So I was getting cardio, I was getting strength training, I was eating very clean and healthy as part of a experience with just needing to heal inflammation for like I had severe endometriosis and pelvic issues that caused a lot of inflammation. And I couldn't get pregnant. So for like 8 years, I experienced infertility because of chronic inflammation. And so as part of that transition, I had learned how to eat healthy. So I was eating very healthy. I was very slim, very active. I could go hiking anywhere. all these things. Very active, burning a lot of calories all day, very strong, very fit. And when I got COVID that third time, it knocked me flat. I could not get out of bed. Going from the kitchen or the bedroom to the kitchen, which we were in a tiny apartment at the time, so it was like 10 steps. Those 10 steps were extremely difficult. And I had young kids, I had to go to work, right? Balancing a new relationship with Ty, where we were very active, riding bikes, hiking, and all of a sudden I can't do anything.
Right? Yeah.
Very, very hard. And this didn't just last the week or 2 weeks that you're sick with COVID. I didn't get better, right? This went on for months. I could barely get by.
Which kind of leads into this second question.
Really. Okay.
So, what was the most difficult part of accepting that your energy levels might not return to what they once were?
This was very, very, very hard because, Ty only knew that one side of me, the healthy side, the active side. My kids, that's what they knew, myself. That was my own expectation of myself. So it's like this huge radical acceptance of I cannot do what I used to do, which is very frustrating and disheartening. I love hiking. I love to be active. I want to be an active mom with my kids. I don't want to be sick in the recliner trying to play with my kids from a recliner. It was very challenging, very hard. And then I had only been at this new workplace for about 6 months when this happened. And so it was also very hard. I came to this workplace with a very, very high, expectation. I am very, very skilled in multiple specialties, which is rare for a surgical tech. Most surgical techs have 1 or 2 specialties that they're good at. I am good at all of them. The only ones I hadn't done at that time were heart and brain and vascular, which I did get the experience once I started working there. But it's very rare to find a tech with the skills in so many specialties. But then I'm there at the job and I can't do anything I used to do. So they're like, well, she was all talk. You know what I mean? I didn't want my reputation to be damaged too, because this affects everything. It's brain fog. Your brain can't function the way it used to. I was very validated recently when I went to the eye doctor. I was having this is a few years into this, I had an experience where I was in I call it a shutdown, where your body, it's not that you're tired, it's your body is shut down. You can barely get up and move. So I go to the eye doctor and I'm like, the eye doctor I had before must have retired or sold his business. So there's this young new eye doctor in there that I've never met. So I'm like, sorry, my affect isn't great today. I don't feel good. I have long haulers. I'm in shutdown mode. And he's like, well, I actually did my residency during COVID. And he's like talking about how your eye muscles need a certain level of energy because it's right and left and they have to fire together. One's firing, then the next is firing, and they have to synchronize, and you have to have enough energy in your system metabolizing to synchronize your eye muscles. And so for people who have experienced this long hauler syndrome, their body cannot produce enough energy anymore to balance those muscles. So it's like everything you do is like you're doing it while reading in a car. Everything's moving, you can't focus, you're starting to get seasick. And so even now I've had to change jobs because I can no longer do what I used to do. But I'm sitting at a computer now. But even that, like, you would think you're just sitting on your butt all day. Why can't you do this? It was so validating because he's like, your eyes can't focus, so then you're going to get car sick. And yes,
sense,
and trying to sit up in the chair also burns a lot of energy. So I'm getting more and more fatigued as the day goes by. I'm getting more and more car sick because my muscles can't fire at the same time and my eyes, you know what I mean? And I remember standing there before I changed jobs. I was standing in a surgery, a second scrub. So I had a main scrub doing most of it, and I was there as a second set of hands. But I'm holding a lap sponge and I cannot focus. It's like this lap sponge is swimming in my hands. And this particular surgery requires you to load up, tiny needles that you can barely see with very fine instruments. And I'm like, I can't move my hands, nor can I see it.
Sure,
it was so
very
difficult.
Frustrating. So how do you distinguish between pushing yourself to grow and pushing yourself beyond what your body can handle?
Yeah, so it starts with really understanding where you are now.
Okay.
So you have to go through the grieving process of, this is what I was, this is what I used to be able to do, and I can't do those things anymore. You have to grieve that. And then you have to set your new normal, your new parameters. Like, what can I do? And
Sure.
anytime we focus on what we can't do, that gives us anxiety, that gives us depression, right? So when you can change that and start to understand, I can scale back. What can I do? Where is my new normal? Where is my new threshold?
And this is great for our listeners. So what has long COVID taught you about the relationship between productivity and self-worth?
Oh man. So yeah, this was like a huge healing thing for me, because I did for most of the last 20 years, my self-worth was tied to my productivity. And that's in the workplace. That's what I was hailed for.
I think that's a lot of us, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I was the one, I didn't go the extra mile. I went the extra 10 miles. Now I'm like, I can do a C average. I'm not going to be the A plus. I'm okay with a C. That's all I can do anymore.
Right.
So that is a huge shift, right? And it's trying to do what you can do with high integrity, and understanding that it's my worth is not tied to what I do, to my productivity. We did that series on divine feminine and masculine with Hades and Persephone, right? The divine feminine, her essence, all of that beauty and power that is so necessary comes from not being productive. It comes from receiving. It comes from rest. It comes with inner reflection. And so now it helped me shift back from toxic masculine overproducing, doing too much, robbing other people of doing things because I'll do it for you, because I can do it faster and more efficiently, and robbing them of the opportunity to learn and do it themselves. I can relinquish control. I can step back into my feminine, which actually puts me into better balance. And I can rest, I can reflect, I can receive, which allows other people in my family or around me to serve and give and provide and produce. Or maybe they weren't having the opportunity because I was doing it all for them.
So, and that kind of brings up my next question. Were there moments when you felt misunderstood by others because your illness wasn't always visible? Like yes. How did that affect you?
That's really a hard one, because I do feel like this is an invisible illness. There are times when I'm in deep shutdown that you can see it. I'm pale. my whole face is saggy because I don't have the energy to have, muscle tone, or affect.
Right.
I'm pale. I'm barely moving. You can tell I don't feel good. But there's other times where I don't feel good and I don't want to be sitting at work or I don't, I can't do the things my kids or my husband wants me to do right now because I don't feel good. And it is invisible. And so it's challenging you just kind of have to accept that it kind of comes down to don't worry about what other people think and what other people judge you by. You have to protect your own health and your own energy, because if you push too hard with this, you will be down for days.
Sure. And
you will pay for it. And so it really helps you amplify your boundaries and practice having good boundaries and putting yourself first. And
excellent, yeah.
And really having an awareness of where's my body at right now? What can I do? What is wise for me to do?
Right.
Or where do I need to scale back a little bit?
Right. How has your definition of success changed since developing long COVID?
Oh man, success, I guess. Yeah, if you really narrow down what all of our life lessons in the last couple of years, success is balancing your masculine and feminine energy. If I overproduce, if I overgive, if I overserve, if I overdo anything, and I'm not keeping that feminine balance of rest, reflect, reset, receive, then that's when I'll get a bad shutdown episode where I'm like down for a whole week or two, which there goes our plans for the whole week or two, which is really disappointing.
Right.
So really keeping the balance, it's so important, and not sacrificing self to please others, because there's times when people are pulling you. Your kids want you to do this, your husband wants you to do this, your coworkers want you to do this, your boss needs you to do this, and you're like, okay, what is realistic for me right now? What can I actually do? And maybe I have to do things in a different way so that I still accomplish the things that have to be done, but I'm not depleting my energy, to do it.
This is excellent for our listeners. So another question I had too is more on the emotional side. What emotional challenges have been just as difficult or perhaps more difficult than the physical symptoms?
Well, one thing we learned was, so emotionally, we've learned that, and this is something you observed not only as a counselor, but also as my spouse. I have PTSD. Some areas, it's stage 4 still, which is very explosive and big. And other areas we've, done a lot of healing work and settle it down. It's minor. But, there's certain triggers that will trigger like a fear or a depression, and other triggers trigger an anger. Like for me, a lot of times when I get a PTSD trigger, it triggers anger. And if you can imagine, the cartoon, red face, fire, just burning, that's a furnace.
Got flames coming out the top of the
head. That takes a lot of fuel to burn, right? So if I get a big PTSD trigger and my emotions are unregulated and I'm burning up with anger, I pay for that.
Sure.
It depletes all the energy I had, right? And so, I really have to be aware of my mental health, my anxiety levels. And a lot of anxiety is trying to control too much. So again, you learn to let other people do things for you instead of trying to do everything yourself and control all the outcomes. And I only like the dishwasher loaded a certain way, so I'm the only one who can do it. And then you complain because you're the only one who's doing it. right? You have to relinquish control. It's okay if the dishwasher gets loaded by somebody else in a different way. That's great. They loaded it and the dishes are done. Right? I'm just using that as a common marriage example of people. You know, same. Like, I can encourage my kids to get up and help more because as a mom, I want them to learn how to do chores anyway. So even if it's going to be done sloppy or halfway, at least they're doing it.
So,
you know,
I love this.
I have to manage my emotions, relinquish control, and really understand that if I don't manage my mental health, then I will pay for it physically.
Absolutely. So there's this acceptance piece. There's also the protecting of the mental health, and then the setting of boundaries with all the people around you, which, man, our listeners, I hope you're listening real well to this. And this is how, I love hearing how Kara is learning how to, work with this issue, but also here in the next few questions, we're going to kind of learn how she starts thriving in this a little bit. So how do you navigate, though, feelings of grief for the life or abilities or opportunities that may have changed because of the condition?
Yeah, some of it I'm okay with. It's just acceptance because I realize how unbalanced my life was. Like, I remember I took a hiatus from my job in 2020 during COVID, and I wasn't planning on going back. My hope was that I could be a stay-at-home mom, but then, that did not work out. So I had to go back to work. And I remember thinking then, because at that point I had massive undiagnosed PTSD, like I could barely function. It was wild, and I didn't know it. It was very hard to regulate. But I remember after a PTSD attack, you're exhausted. Even if you don't have long haulers, you're going to have a crash and it takes days to recover. So I remember thinking, I don't care anymore about being the same person who goes the extra 10 miles at work.
Sure.
I never want to be that person again. Anyways.
So there was an evolution in your mind.
Evolution, yes.
Okay.
And I want to really work on and learn how to be in more balance and not feel the anxiety that I used to feel around all those things and try to, Right. I didn't want to. And then there's other areas where, like hiking, for example, we do way less hiking than we used to.
Sure.
I love hiking. I love being in the outdoors. And that's sad and hard. And so you just have to understand you may not be able to do the longer hikes, but maybe you can do some shorter hikes where it's less of an incline, easier hikes.
Or we can get some e-bikes.
Yeah, we got e-bikes, which is so cool because the e-bike can do the energy for me, so we can go, long distances without me depleting my energy so bad. So yeah, there's like different ways of doing things. There's always solutions. Right. You can do the same things you love, just in a different way or in a smaller dose. So you don't have to fully give it up.
Very good. What role has hope played in your healing journey? And how has your understanding of hope evolved?
Yeah, the hope is always alive. I mean, that's something I've always believed in. No matter how bleak or bad it may seem, there's always hope and there's always solutions, right? I think where it gets really dark is when people forget that there's always solutions, right? So hope, again, is just, there's always the hope that's there. So I think how I've handled this is hope is an idea, but you have to educate yourself on how to bring ideas to life, right? Mm-hmm. So I listen to podcasts. I get advice from doctors. I mean, I've had several doctors and we go through rounds, and I'm not afraid to get in their face for a little bit, till we figure out what the heck is happening to me. What am I experiencing?
Sure.
And I don't want you to freaking gaslight me, because then I'll
Right.
have a PTSD attack on you.
Sure. Right.
But like, I educate myself. I learn a lot of things that can help me, first understand what I'm experiencing, and also ways I can do, again, I can do things still just in a different way or at a small dose. So that again feeds your positivity around it. Yes, I have this issue now, but I've educated myself on how to live with it, how to thrive with it.
Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. And so I hope our listeners are gathering this. This is great information as far as how she's starting to work through this. What have you discovered about your inner strength that you may never have learned without this experience?
I think, inner strength is, what is inner strength? It's maybe finding within ourselves determination to find solutions or keep going.
Sure.
It's self-discipline. It's self-awareness that, hey, everybody wants me to do this, that, and that. And everybody has these expectations of me. And I am not responsible of their expectation of me.
Wow, that's...
Right?
Yeah.
I am not responsible for your expectation of me. Your expectation of me can get a reality check.
Let's hope you're all listening out there, because
And
this is fantastic.
My
right
expectation of myself can get a reality check.
here. Right.
Right? So inner strength is, what I've learned about inner strength is that that's what it takes to learn and understand yourself deeper, accept where you're at, and build boundaries up around every aspect of your life so that I can maintain my health and my vitality and my energy that I have and still be a good mom and be a good wife and be a good friend and sister and daughter and coworker and, employee. I can still give and succeed in all those areas and do what is expected of me in life, but also feel like I am not sacrificing myself or my needs to please everybody else and accomplish all those things.
Right. Okay, how do you celebrate progress when healing isn't always linear or easily measurable?
How do you celebrate progress? Yeah, healing is not linear. There's a lot of ups and downs. And I learned this from Ty. I mean, I think when you're in toxic masculinity and overproducing and going above and beyond, giving and pushing the extra mile and doing too much, you never stop or slow down to accept a compliment. You never stop or slow down to, you just shrug it off. You don't slow down to rest. You don't allow anybody to give you or serve you, or you don't appreciate it if they do. You just kind of shrug it off, blow it off, kill it, and then keep going. What was the question again?
Yeah, so I just was asking, how do you celebrate the progress?
So Ty, I
Yeah.
learned this from Ty, and because he's really good about saying, how are we going to celebrate that? Even the tiniest little things, let's stop and celebrate that. Hey, you did this, let's celebrate. So celebration is the feminine energy to pause, reflect, and receive the serotonins, is that the right word?
Yeah.
The happiness and joy of accomplishment.
The dopamine as well.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You did something. Even if it's the
Absolutely.
tiniest, smallest thing. Sometimes that's, I got out of the freaking recliner and did some laundry today.
Absolutely.
Freaking hallelujah.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate.
Right.
Because when you're in shutdown mode, that's hard.
Right.
Right? And so, you have to pause long enough to allow yourself to be happy about your small accomplishments, your small wins, and receive a compliment and say, thank you. right?
So
That's
there's
receiving.
definitely elements of thriving in that, when you
Yeah.
can receive the compliment, when you can celebrate the small wins. So this one, what habits, practices, or mindset shifts have helped you thrive despite having limited energy?
Yeah, the habits, really, the most important one I would say is a self-awareness. You need to get in the habit of being
Excellent, yeah.
aware of yourself emotionally, physically, everything.
I hope you're all listening.
Right?
This is fantastic.
Self-awareness. And then the second habit is reflection. Both of those are feminine energy, right? I have to be still enough and out of my anxiety enough that I can consciously, on purpose, say, how am I feeling physically? How am I feeling emotionally? What tools do I need to use right now to get through this next moment? Is this a day where I feel really good and I can do a little more activity? Or is this a day when I need to, you know what, I can't go on our walk this morning. I need to preserve some energy today, right? Self-reflection. And the third habit, so self-reflection, what did I say? Making a plan, basically.
Right.
Understanding where you're at,
Right.
scaling back if you need to, having firm boundaries to say, I need to do things differently today. And then,
Which that kind of leads into this question, like how has this journey influenced your relationships with family, friends, and partners? Like, what have you noticed about that?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes people are disappointed in you because you can't do as much as you used to do.
Kind of like a reality check there.
Yeah, and again, you have to be okay with that.
So again, we're back
their
to acceptance.
Disappointment is not your thing to worry about, right? It's them. Their expectation of you is them.
So they're also learning acceptance as well.
But again, there's different things you can do that actually may be more connecting. I can't go shopping at the mall with you. That's way too hard. But we can sit down and talk over, a nice little dirty soda.
Sure. Sounds amazing. Right.
Which is actually more connecting. What people actually want is to connect with each other, right? I can't,
point.
go out in the middle of July at 102 degrees and go to a craft fair in the park. That would just wipe me out, right? But maybe there's something else I can do with you instead.
Agreed.
So it's just balancing relationships and back to habits. I mean, I have to really be aware of how I eat, making sure I'm eating very healthy. And again, educating myself on what my body needs as far as food and nutrients to be at optimal energy. And what I've learned also as, being 40 plus years old in premenopause, our bodies need a lot of protein, and we get a fraction of what we actually need. So I've learned that. So I changed the way I eat to try to get more protein. I'm taking a few supplements for key specific minerals that I'm not getting enough of. And I do believe that has helped, so the habit of eating healthy, the habit of educating yourself, the habit of healthy boundaries, the habit of self-awareness and self-reflection, the habit of saying no.
Yeah, especially when you need to. What misconceptions about chronic illness or long COVID would you most like people to understand?
They're not faking it. First of all, any type of autoimmune disease can be invisible to everybody else. They're not faking it. Right. It's sometimes appears to be that way, but they're not, And so if somebody it's easier to see when, if you knew me long term and knew what I was like before, you would know the me now is different. I think it was one of your first questions, what were you like before? Are you like now? I think on my best days, I'm only like 80% of what I was.
Yeah,
That's a big loss of what I used to be able to do.
Sure.
But you can thrive in that 80%.
Absolutely.
Things are a little bit different. You're going to be scaled down. I would have never wanted to run a marathon before anyways, but there's no way I would even think about it now, right? It's not necessary to do that.
Right.
But there's so many things you can do for yourself. I can still exercise. I just have to do it in smaller doses, right? I can still do things with family and friends and with my spouse. Sometimes we have to change the plans depending on what my energy level is for the day. And we can still have a lot of deep connection. We can still have a lot of fun. We can still thrive. I can still try new things and do my hobbies and passions. Just, with the understanding of I have very clear limits now that I've learned the last year and a half or 2 years. I've learned what my limits are, and I have to respect my limits. And your family and friends will learn your new limits and your new normal as well. And yeah.
Okay, this is excellent stuff. And we have a few more questions for Kara. But before we do, we're going to take a quick pause and thank our sponsor for tonight, Cave 623 Studios. So again, they are excellent with any recording processes. So if you're needing music recorded or needing recordings for speeches or anything that you have for recording needs, they do a great job. And so we just wanted to make sure that our sponsor was shouted out here for a minute, and now we're going to return to the final few questions I have for Kara. How has being forced to slow down changed the way you experience life, presence, or gratitude?
I love this. And it actually, sometimes our accidents, life-changing accidents or life-changing illnesses are actually our greatest blessings, right? One of my own personal values I've always had, I guess it stems from my imagination, I don't know, but I love to find and notice the tiny little magical things everywhere, whether it's a flower that's shaped like a fairy, or
that's awesome.
A little knot on a tree that looks like something, or I don't know.
Sure.
You find the little magical things in everyday life.
I love that.
And slowing down allows you to notice and experience more of the magic that life has to offer. So it's actually a huge blessing. And that, again, is the emphasis on why having the balance of masculine and feminine energy is so important. Because when you're just rushing around, accomplishing, doing, producing, never slow down, never stop, never rest, you miss so much of what is important in life. And so slowing down allows you to feel and see and experience the magic again.
And this is just such good advice for our listeners. Have there been any unexpected gifts or positive transformations that emerged from this difficult chapter?
Man, I think, again, the greatest gift is just coming back to balance,
Agreed.
And knowing that no matter where you are at in life with a life-changing anything, there is still so much life around you. You can still thrive. You can still do things you love to do, just do it in a different way, and yeah, life doesn't stop just because it's different.
Right.
You just create life within that realm of differentness.
Right. That's beautiful. All right, what does resilience mean to you now compared to before you became ill?
Yeah, I think you learn how much your body can go through and still heal itself, still adapt, and still thrive.
All right, so if someone was listening and is struggling with chronic condition and feeling like discouraged, like what would you want them to hear?
First of all, that you're not alone. There are millions of us who are experiencing the same thing, maybe slightly different, but the lack of being able to do what we used to do or do what we want to do is real. The way our body feels is very real. Our phantom pain, our inability to move when we need to move. Exactly. It's all very real. The pain, everything. So no matter what somebody tries to convince you otherwise, what you are experiencing is very real, and you're not alone in it.
Well,
and you can, there's always hope. You can educate yourself. You can start the self-reflection and the understanding where you're at and what your new limits are. You can adapt, and your body can respond to healing no matter what. We just listened to a Mel Robbins podcast. I can't remember the guest she had on, but that's what they were talking about, is no matter where you're at, even 90 years old, frail little old lady sitting in the recliner in the nursing home who cannot get up and walk on her own, your body will respond to activity and progress. So you activity, give her a couple of little 1 pound bean bags, and she can move her arms up and down, do curls, and increase it to 2 pound bean bags, and then 5 pound bean bags. And before you know it, with a little time and repetition, this tiny little frail old lady can lift herself out of the chair. Your body will respond to healing. Yeah. Progress can be made. That is how God designed our bodies to be. When you give it healthy food, even after your entire life full of bad eating habits, eating garbage, our body will respond to healthy food. It'll respond to the supplements you were lacking. So you educate yourself. Sure. You set new goals for yourself. Little by little, you make progress, and you just accept that you may not be able to do things the same as you once did, sure, but you don't even want to. There's a better way of doing them anyways.
I love it. Just like one little choice at a time. This is great. Yeah. So what does thriving look like when the goal is no longer returning to who you were, but becoming who you are now?
I love that. I think the goal in our lives should always be to become more of who we are and who we've always been, because from the time we're little, we get almost pulled away by parents, by teachers, by church, by religion, by communities, by cultures. We get pulled away from who we really are at our core. And the goal should always be to be the most youest you could possibly be.
Agreed.
So
this is amazing.
Stopping, slowing down, reevaluating, changing course, changing priorities, doing that self-reflection of what do I actually really want for myself anyways. And that was one of the really healing things that happened was learning that, I don't want to be the person I was. I'm okay with letting that person go.
Absolutely.
Right? I'm okay with getting, doing things a different way, and really writing down or self-reflecting, really thinking about what do I want? I've picked up a few new hobbies, recently that are more in alignment with who I am and what That's I like fantastic. To do, that I haven't ever done. And so it's fun. I'm learning new things. I'm doing different things. It's fun.
Yeah, you're turning it into a fun thing now. even though it was a very challenging part of your life. So we want to thank Kara, but we got one more really good question for her, and I'm hoping that you guys are all listening. She's definitely brought us a lot of good knowledge with this. Looking back on your journey so far, what lessons about humanity, healing, and the human spirit stand out most strongly to you?
Yeah, basically that you can get through anything and thrive. It doesn't matter how hard
Absolutely.
it is or what things in your life completely end or you have to give up. There's always new, amazing, fun, wonderful things to discover and try and do and learn. And you can thrive in a different way. And I think that's the lesson and the wisdom, is that you find that your new normal ends up being way better than your old one was anyway.
I love that. So we just want to thank Kara for answering these questions. This is definitely a topic we felt like many of you out there have experienced different challenges in your life. This was her challenge. But we know a lot of you out there also have your own challenges, your own setbacks, things that have physically changed you, and this was some excellent advice. Feel free to share this with family members or close friends who may be struggling with an ailment of their own. I feel like there's a lot of healing in this podcast that Kara was so generous in sharing. And so we also want to remind you to keep following our podcast, and it definitely helps us. So thank you again for taking some time to be with us tonight. And again, we are Heal with Ty and Kara, and feel free to join us on our next podcast.
Yeah, next one I get to interview Ty on something. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it'll be fun.
Looking forward to it.
All right, thanks. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. The deepest dark. I'll pray for you. The light is dim. You just can't win. I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. You might not see. I'm here for you. When your anger is high and you can't understand.